have never in my life been taught with my back to a whole bunch of people, so I apologize for this. I want to stay within the 10 minutes I have, so I wrote this out, so bear with me, please. This is a short speech about a big idea. And the big idea is opportunity. And specifically, the role colleges like the 9 you represent play in creating opportunity. Now, opportunity is a key word in the American story, a word embedded in the political speech of the right and the left alike. We hear it so much that it easily becomes an abstraction, a word without real meaning. But I'm interested in the actual experience of opportunity. What does it feel like to have opportunity when you haven't had it before? Now, this is very personal to me because I grew up a few miles south of here, poor, the third person in my extended family to graduate from high school, the first to go to college. And going to college and staying in college was made possible by my high school English teacher and 3 or 4 professors, so I know in my bones the feeling of opportunity, the feeling of hope, the feeling of possibility, the sense of the future. So let me give you a few portraits of opportunity come alive here at Trade Tech, portraits similar to those that can be found across the district and across the country. Here's the first portrait. Sam has experienced the worst of the foster care system, shuffled house to house from the time he was a small child. In his mid-20s, Sam is a powerful-looking guy with a big smile, earnest and softly talkative about education, about becoming a man, and about leading a life that matters. Though he's been sleeping in his car for half of the current year, we just recently got him housing, he's maintained strong grades in his occupational program, participates in student government, and works on campus as a reading tutor and in a summer program for middle school kids. He's completed the occupational program, but the work with adult readers and the middle schoolers has so captivated him that he wants to get a bachelor's degree that will enable him to teach or counsel people in need. Here's portrait number 2. Cynthia was president of the student body, and the story of how she came to run for office will tell you a lot about her. She and one of her older peers, who was in student government, were hanging out in an instructor's office. Her fellow student was bragging about how tough he was on student council, and Cynthia, who is fearless and doesn't suffer fools lightly, proceeded to take him down a notch. Well, her instructor was so impressed by her guts and gumption that he began talking her up to her classmates as a candidate for president. Now, Cynthia had never run for anything in her life. She was a half-hearted student in high school. She hated public speaking, and she thought the whole idea was crazy. But the challenge touched something in her, and she began the campaign, learning to speak in classrooms, on the stump, in debates. She lost, ran again, won, and became a dogged advocate for student services, gaining a political and oratorical education in the process. Here's portrait number 3. William's path to physics did not begin with science, but with his mother pleading to the heavens for food and shelter. William lived with his mother and younger brother in an abandoned house, and he vividly remembers waking up in the middle of the night to find his mother in tears, looking skyward and praying for him. He began to wonder what was up there in space and couldn't shake his curiosity. He started doing well in his middle school science courses, then high school. And along the way, he found the Discovery Channel and enthralling shows on planetary astronomy, robotic explorers, and cosmology. But as is often the case with low-income students, his path to college was slow and bumpy. He got a job, eventually took a class, changed jobs, took another class, tried to balance work and school, opted for the graveyard shift, started a family, took more classes, finally got all the pieces together. Now he's well into his math and physics courses and preparing to transfer into an astrophysics program at one of the state universities. statistics on community college completion are well known, especially to those of us in this room. These 3 students are among the 30% who will earn a credential or a degree or will transfer within 4 years. Now, without denying the clear need to do better, I think we need to pay more attention to this 30%, for they have much to teach us about the value of the college experience. Now, to be sure, Sam and Cynthia and William are exceptional students, but the kind of thing that's happening to them is not uncommon. There's the ex-gang member paralyzed from a shooting who wants to work with troubled youth. There's the fashion student, a blend of punk and Lady Gaga, who was always terrified of math and found, to her great happy surprise, that she could help her friend through college algebra. There's the fellow from the Diesel Technology program, who says that this is the first time school has meant anything. And there's the student nurses, who gradually develop a knowledge of human physiology and medicine, shaping their sense of who they are and what they can do in the world. Now, given our time, it makes sense to focus on the economic benefits of college. But as a number of studies show, higher education has extra economic benefits as well, from improved health to increased civic engagement to deeper involvement in children's education. And I see more. People learn new things or advance old interests. They confront long-standing inadequacies about school and their ability. They feel their minds working. They develop relationships with a variety of people, sometimes crossing delicate boundaries of race, religion, and sexual orientation. They begin to imagine a once unimaginable future. They begin to reinvent themselves. These are personal and social benefits of the first one. Now, I said a moment ago that students like these have much to teach us, so let me close by listing some of these lessons. And as you see, these lessons are interrelated. So the first lesson, Chip touched on this. The first lesson is just the fact that this kind of success is possible. In the day-to-day grind of teaching and counseling and administration and policy formation, it's easy to forget the big picture. We need images of possibility to know what we're working so hard to achieve. Lesson number 2. Do we have an institutional vision, a philosophy of education that affirms this possibility and affirms not only the economic purpose of education, because we all want our students to get jobs, of course, but also affirms the intellectual, social, and civic purposes as well? And here's a related issue. Some of the students I just presented to you came to the college with low skills and lots of problems, yet they developed mightily. One student put it to me, do the faculty see students in terms of what they can't do or in terms of what they could be? Lesson number 3. Teachers and mentors were highly important to these students' lives. So we need professional development to help us work more effectively with students who aren't academically prepared or familiar with the way college works. I can't tell you how many young instructors I've met over the years who want to do the right thing but are at a loss, for nowhere in their own education has anyone mentored them as teachers. Lesson number 4. We need to bridge the 100-year-old divide between the vocational and the academic course of study. We need to focus on the rich intellectual content of occupations and on the powerful usefulness of the arts and sciences. And we have to establish the conditions for faculty from each of these different areas to talk creatively to each other across that divide. Lesson 5. Each of the students I presented had to take remedial courses. Remedial education has been part of American higher education since before the Civil War. So we better take it out of the hinterland and get very good at it. For when it's done poorly, it hinders opportunity, and when it's done well, it creates it. The 6th and last lesson has to do with metrics. In the push to measure student success, do we have the means to measure not only pass rates and credential or degree completion, but also the hugely important but less tangible outcomes evident in the portraits I just gave you? Feeling of achievement, a belief in one's abilities, a sense of hope. These are central to the experience of opportunity. Thank you.